Hi, and I'd like to welcome K.N. Lee, International Award-winning author. Today, she's here to speak with us. Hi, Ken, or Kenya. What should we call you today?
Hi, so good to see you guys. You can call me Kayan Lee.
Okay.
It's strange.
It's so good to have you today.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Could you tell us a little about yourself?
I'm Kayan Lee. I am an epic fantasy, urban fantasy, and paranormal romance. Just added romance to my list of genres that I write. Right now, I just re-released my three best-selling novels because my publisher closed down on May 31st. So I went back to being an independent author. So those just came back out this week, and I'm very excited for everything that's coming out this year. My roster is intense. But yeah, somehow I make it work.
Well, I know you are such a busy girl, and you're so young, and you even have a little baby at home. So I mean, I don't know how you do it. And I was just saying that she needs to bottle up some of her energy and some of her knowledge and pass it on to us older authors here who need it, So.
Thank you. I get that a lot. That is the question I'm asked the most right now is how do I manage to run my business, write, all of my books, take care of a baby, take care of a home. Yeah, that's the most asked question right now. And today is actually the first day my baby is at a babysitter, so this is interesting.
You're probably
now.
You're probably on pins and needles right now.
I am. I literally just dropped him off, and it was so funny. I tried to give him a kiss, and he turned away like, "Don't kiss me in front of the pretty babysitter, Mommy."
Well,
He's so
that's
sweet.
good. He understood that you needed some you time, and my daughter has a baby that's a month younger than your baby because you guys were like, I was watching both of you, so I know how it is from watching him. So, but good for you to be able to balance everything out and keep on writing. Oh my goodness, and that comes to my first question. I mean, you just seem to have hit the ground running, and you see a lot of these people that it's just like they just step into this and they just explode with their business, and I mean, here you are, international best-selling author, and I mean, what was it that inspired you to write in the first place? I mean, was it like you were a writer in a past life and you just kind of came into this new life and you just picked up and I mean, is there something, did you always know as a young person that you were just going to write?
Always. I remember writing my first books when I was in second grade. I would write books and draw the pictures, and I would bind it in like cardboard wrapped in wallpaper so that it would have a hard cover. And I would give it to my teachers, and they would display it in the library, and I was like, I want a real book in the library one day. And I've just been writing ever since then, just, short stories. I wrote little kiddie books when I was a child, and I actually wrote the first draft of my biggest book, Rise of the Flame, when I was 11 years old on my mother's typewriter, and that was the first draft. It was front and back, typewritten, and I made all of my family members read it. So yeah, I've been writing for a very long time. I always knew that, no matter what career I took, that I would also be a writer. I wanted to be an OBGYN, and it just happened that writing took precedence, and that's what I'm sticking with.
Well, that's really
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
I just have to say, though, sorry, Rhonda, I read Rise of the Flame, and it was really good.
Oh, yes, you did.
I did,
Thank
and
you.
I left you a 5-star review, and I just wish I had more time to read, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Read all
Me
of them.
too. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used part of your blurb as one of the editorial reviews. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Thank
Okay, go ahead, Rhonda. Sorry.
So, that's okay. How many titles do you have out?
Oh man, I think I have right now 10 titles.
Wow. And when did you start? When was your first publication?
2013. 2013 was the first. Was when I first published Netherworld: The Chronicles of Koa, my urban fantasy series.
So you've been a busy girl.
Very busy girl.
It's very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Thank you very much. The thing is, in 2013, I decided to publish Netherworld because that was a book that I had written a chapter a week on my blog, and it gained such popularity that I was like, it would be cool to flesh this out and publish it, because my intentions were to query agents and find a publisher for Rise of the Flame. Because Rise of the Flame was the first book I wrote, but I wanted to get a traditional publisher. So I did that, and I traveled to, World Fantasy Con in England and tried to find me an agent, and I did find some.
That's me. I'm so sorry. I literally inside the train track.
I was wondering if I was hearing things.
I heard it coming. I was like, please don't be so loud. And then
That's
just awesome.
awesome.
Looked around and I knew exactly what it was.
That's so cool.
I'm going to have to get a train schedule.
Well, it's very interesting, Rhonda, because today is Rhonda's first day with Between the Lines Book Talk, and I posted on Between the Lines
Nice.
Book Talk page, and I said, welcome to the Between the Lines Book Talk train. Oh, well,
Oh, wow.
you're just so, like I said, you just hit the ground running. I mean, when you started, was it just, like you said, you went overseas to find an agent and stuff? So now do you have a team around you that helps you? You said your publisher just closed down. So, what kind of a team do you have around you, or is it just you?
Well, since my publisher, when I found a publisher, I still wasn't hybrid author, so I still had my independent titles and my traditionally published titles. And right now, I'm just full indie, and it's all me. So it's all me again. I started off that way, and ultimately, I'm back, doing it on my own, which is fine, because I found success on my own, and I kind of know how everything works, and it's just me. I mean, I do have editors and proofreaders, because everyone needs that, even independent authors. But as far as the marketing and the publicity, it's just me.
That was a question I was going to ask, is how do you, okay, you're an internationally best-selling author. How in the world did you market yourself, in 3 years to become such, because I've been publishing since 2012. I'm nowhere near that. So marketing tips.
Well, it's interesting. I do come from somewhat of a sales background. I used to sell door to door. I used to sell on the phone. I sold in retail. So I have a strong sales and marketing background. And I think it also, a big factor is I'm just very creative. I like to research how other people are marketing, but I also like to think outside the box and do things that will draw attention and reach a different audience. So, when I first published in 2013, I didn't know what I was doing. And I did kind of have some authors that were pretty popular. One of the women I used to write with is Melinda Metz, and she is the author of the Roswell series. So we used to write every Monday, and I would just pick her brain. And also James Newman is a popular horror writer. I got some tips from him. But I think the biggest thing was diving into the author community on social media. I think once you do that and, just learn from the people that are doing well, it just rubs off on you, and you use what they're doing, and you also try different things. I do my marketing strategy is basically getting in front of as many readers as I can with, blogging and Facebook events. I've been building my newsletter for a while now. I think that's one of the most important things you could do is get your newsletter up, set up, and just being active on social media and constantly trying to be seen and get the exposure and the branding that you need. That's the most important thing. Yeah. There were a lot of factors involved.
Well, I think you're also balanced.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, because you use your right brain for your creativity and your left brain, so you're not afraid of the technology, mm-hmm. and you're not afraid of the marketing, where so many of us, like me, are, do I really have to go do that? I mean, I remember my very first Facebook party. I thought I was literally going to have a heart attack and pass out. Nobody saw me. I was, I mean, so, you just seem just so energized and ready to take it on. And I think a lot of us, we kind of wimp when we do this, so, what is it about you? Do you think that your books are so well received? Is it that you just are so fearless? Is there one thing that just kind of sticks in your brain that you think why the people like you so much?
As far as my writing, I think people like my writing style because I am a very visual person. So every scene that I write has to be read, so that you can visualize it. The majority of my reviews all state that my book feels like a movie. And that is what I think draws readers in and keeps them hooked. I like to start every chapter with the hook and end every chapter with the hook so that you cannot put it down until you're done. So, that's what I try to, do with every book that I write. And not only that, but I also write about very strong female protagonists that, they're very strong, but at first glance, they're kind of like the girl that you would not think twice about, but they're like the most powerful person in the room. You just don't know it. So yeah, I think people like my themes and my writing style. And I'm very character driven. So I think they also like, my characters and my plot twists. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when I read your Rise of the Flame, you're very descriptive. And I think, you have the handle on showing in your writing versus just telling, and I think a lot of...
Oh, thank you.
I think when a lot of authors just tell the story, for me, I feel cheated. We got to be able to use our imagination too. You don't want to go overboard, but I think, finding that balance is really good. So yeah.
Oh, that's such a compliment because I'm very mindful of that because of my editor, very good editor. I use the Grammar Babe. She's one of my dear friends, and she reads all of my stuff and gives me feedback, even when she's not editing. And she makes me very mindful of showing versus telling. And I think I've become stronger with that because, that's one of the hardest things to do is to show versus telling because, it just takes practice. Yeah, thank you.
That's a problem I have myself is being descriptive. I get caught up in the story and just want to tell and then I'm like, wait a minute, there's more to it than that. And
Yeah.
it's a very hard thing to do. So, do you outline, how do you, because you said you seem like you're well planned out, like you're an outliner, or I know you have to outline some way.
Yeah.
Want to.
Well, originally I never outlined per se. When I first started out, I would just write the story and I would only go to an outline or like a brainstorm sheet or jot list when I was stuck on something. And I found that I wrote slower that way. Now, I've learned how to use a very detailed outline with rising action, fallen action, climax. And that's what helps me write so many books nowadays. When I used to write, it took me years to write a book. Now I'm writing 6 a year. It's because of my very detailed outline. And I think it's very important now that I understand structure and what's popular and how to make a book that goes mainstream. I think it's important to follow a structure, not to be formulaic, but to follow a structure that the reader will be invested in, and they'll feel the rising action and not want to stop reading the book. And I think it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not everyone works that way. And I did not work that way. But now that I know how to write an outline, I know that I can write a book in a month following that outline and not getting stuck and having writer's block. And I think it's the key these days for me.
Well,
I need to try that then. I'm a terrible outliner. I've never been able to use an outline. I need some tips.
I know a good book to read is Plot and Structure. James Scott Bell, Plot and Structure, very good book. I was turned on to that by my creative writing teacher, Ginger Fox, and that's a good start if you want to outline.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
I know. I try to outline, and then I end up deviating anyways. I just think it's my weird way my weird brain works. I don't know, but yeah, even if sometimes the endings, it's like I freak out. I kind of have an idea with the ending, but characters. I know you already touched on that. You have strong characters. I think we're going away now from the damsels in distress. Yes, a very coy character might like to be rescued from the cute guy, but she's actually smart, So
yeah.
Is there, how much of you is in your characters? Is there one of your characters that maybe you associate more with?
Yeah. Lyle from Rise of the Flame has so much in me because, as I said, I started that when I was 11. So she's basically grown with me. Like everything that I experienced, from being this very, very shy, closed off, painfully shy girl growing up. A lot of that's in her because she starts off that way where she, like me, moving every year. Lily moved every year as well, and can never, make bonds with friends because you're going to be gone. So why even try? So there's a lot of me in her, and so yeah, I think she and I are the most alike. Koa is the girl that I wish I could be because she's so headstrong and confident, doesn't second guess herself, and that's not me. I've gotten better. Traveling overseas has helped me get out of my shy box. But yeah, those are the characters that are like polar opposites that I want to be and who I was.
I think that's the best part of writing, is because we can write about how we want to be, or we can write about the worlds we want to live in, you know? So, yeah, cool.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things about writing, is just, creating this dream world that, because all of my books pretty much come from dreams. So just diving into them every time I open up my Word document or my notebook is the most fun thing, just to create that world.
It is.
So your books come from actual dreams.
Yeah.
Is it a full dream, or is it just like a scene or something that takes a life of its own, or?
Well, Rise of the Flame, most of that came from, the core of the story and the characters came from dreams that I used to have as a little girl. But it's grown outside of that as I've grown. But the Chronicles of Koa, the very first chapter, was a dream that I had. And after that, it just took on a world of its own. Yeah. I've been writing down my dreams in a series of notebooks since high school. So I have so many worlds and characters to pull from. And I also think that doing this has helped me greatly to become a lucid dreamer. And lucid dreaming is kind of like my secret weapon for when I feel like I have writer's block, because I can think about what problem I'm having before I go to sleep and like literally work it out in my dreams. And I know what's happening, which is very fun. Sometimes I don't want to wake up because I'm working out a problem in my dream.
Well, you are such a magical little girl and you don't even know it. But, it is. It's true. I mean, what do they say? When we dream, we're actually we live in parallel lives. So when we dream, we're left our physical body and we're going and living our other lives, doing what it is we want to do. So you're really connected, and so that's really working well for you. And
Thank you.
You are a gamer too. You are a gamer too, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge influence on my writing, especially with Rise of the Flame, because I used to play. I don't have time to play anything now, but I used to be heavily into the MMORPGs, which are the massively massively multiplayer online role-playing games like World of Warcraft or Lineage. And those are so good for epic fantasy writers because they do have the different races and the different realms. And so yeah, those did influence me to I actually created some of my own races so that I wouldn't, just use the same ones that everyone has been using, like the elves and, orcs and stuff like that. I do have elves in my story, but I kind of did my own spin on them. And I created some other races that are pretty cool. But yeah, the gaming has been a huge influence. I actually used a lot of names from characters that I used to play with. A lot of my characters are named after people that I used to play with, their character names, to kind of pay homage to them for inspiring me. Yeah. Do either of you game?
No.
I'm old.
I'm a bit of an addict. I used to play, video games when I was younger, and I thought, I'm not getting into this role-playing games because I would sit on, the video games for hours and hours, and it's time-consuming, and I don't know when to quit. So
Yeah.
I just don't even start.
That's what I am like. I'm not even gonna try to get back in there because I know I won't get anything done.
Well, I have scoliosis, and it's all in my neck, and so for me to like do this all day I just can't do it. So even in front of the computer is so hard. So yeah, my time is limited, Well, I just want to ask you, yeah, we don't have much time to read anymore because we're too busy writing and creating, but is there any authors or any writers that inspired you, or any works out there that you like to read when you have time?
Yes, I still try to fit in reading whenever I can. I actually got a lot of reading done when I first had my son, because I would read whenever I would feed him, which was like every 2 hours. So I would, have books ready at that time. But growing up, I was into very early, probably too early, but it did influence me. I was into Stephen King, Anne Rice, and Terry Goodkin from like 4th, 5th grade. Those are the books I was reading, and those are their worlds influenced me. Anne Rice influenced my, urban vampire paranormal fantasies, and Stephen King, his horror themes can be seen in all of my stories. No matter how happy and light I try to start a book, it always goes dark. Always goes dark, which surprises a lot of people that know me, because I'm this cheerleader, happy, cheerful, positive, but my writing is kind of dark. But recently, Brandon Sanderson, the Mistborn trilogy blew me away. I just wanted to read everything he's written, and I have. He's amazing. Also, I've been getting into, outside of the fantasy genre, I never thought romance never was my thing, but I read something from Scarlett Dawn and Kay Webster, who are authors that I now write with in the same world. We have a series where we all kind of have like the same town that our characters are living in, and we write books about them. And they have greatly inspired me on the romance side, because I always thought that romance was the hardest thing because there's no magic or creatures or evil. But then as I wrote my first romance, I was like, wow, there really is magic, because love is pretty magical, and writing about that was so much fun. So I'm kind of a believer now. I don't think it'll ever be my main genre, because fantasy is what I love, but I do enjoy, throwing that in there now.
Yeah, that's like my last book, Candlelight and Cobwebs. It was just going to be a real light romance, because the Dragon Horse book, it was young adult, and so there was really not much romance. There was a little bit, but why don't you add some more romance? And so I did, but I am not one of those high tension romance writers. Like, I just want to cut to the chase, so yeah, let's get it on, so okay,
that's awesome.
Rhonda, you got the next question.
Well, this is kind of off the wall. It really doesn't have anything to do with your writing, but when I read your bio on Amazon, one of the things that was listed in there was community service. So what kind of community service, and how did you get into what you do?
I used to do a lot more community service than I do now. But I used to coach high school cheerleading completely for free. in my spare time because I really wanted, I mean, I was a cheerleader, and I decided to invest pretty much every afternoon of my time to my old high school cheerleading team to mentor them and train them and kind of be a strong role model for these girls. So, you know, now I don't have time for that, but I did do that, you know, for a few years, and, you know, donating time to the local nursing homes and different things around my city, just donating time to like help with different events around town, different cultural events. Those were things that I would do, which, you know, were part of the criteria that helped me make the top 30 under 30 by Elevate Lifestyle magazine. It was a combination of my writing success and community service and being a successful business owner in Charlotte, North Carolina.
It is very hard to find time for community service.
Yeah.
I do what I can. We mostly do things with ASPCA or our local animal shelter and things like that, and animal rescues. It's very hard, though, when you're writing to and marketing yourself and to have time for your family, let alone you know, to go out and do community service. But it's I think it's very important to give back. I commend you for your time and your efforts, because it is very hard to find the time. And so many people just say, well, you know, I'll do it tomorrow, or I don't have time. And it is hard. And I you know, now that I have a child, it's even harder, but I was thinking about maybe donating like a few hours a month to help with this local reading program for children, to like help them come up to their grade level for reading. That's really important to me, is, you know, reading for children. And like I already am trying to fill up I have this bookcase in my son's room. I want that thing to be full by the time he goes to school. We read every day and he loves it. So that's one thing, that's one charity that I, you know, love to be a part of. And, you know, I'll probably make some time to do that. It's not too much, like 4 hours a month. It's not bad. But it's priceless.
It is.
The person receiving it. So.
And I love children, so that's the perfect one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know my daughter took a picture of my grandson Tristan. He's 10 months. Sitting down trying to read one of my books.
That's so cute.
But,
I love
it looks like we have just a few more minutes here yet. So why don't you just give us one piece of advice you would have for aspiring authors? Is there one piece of advice?
Yes. One thing that I learned from the people that I met before I was published is first off, never give up, you know, even if you're just going to write for fun, never give up, you know. But also, as far as trying to become a successful author, is to start, even before you get published, start working on your author platform. Because one of the most important things that you can do, even, you know, if you're going to be a traditionally published author, they really want to see that you've made an effort to be seen in social media. You know, to have a strong social media following, get your Twitter together, your fan page, you know, make a website or a blog, and be active on it. An author platform is what's going to help propel you into being a successful author. So I would definitely focus on that. Yeah. You know, as well as writing awesome books.
I know. I did it the opposite way. I was so excited to get my book out there, and then my book was out, and it's like, well, now what? you know, so great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So
Thank you.
well, my dear, I just wanted to thank you for joining us today, and all the more success in the world with your little baby boy and your business. And
Thank you.
and then of course we'll have everything posted on where they can reach you and where all your many books are. So everybody, thank you for joining us today, and do look up K.N. Lee. She's a great writer, and you will enjoy what she does. So everybody, thank you very much.